Redbull Faster, the biggest Trackmania event of 2025 just happened, featuring the second highest prize pool in Trackmania history with 50,000 euros, and it ended in the most dramatic fashion possible. After many exciting matches, it came down to a 1v1 situation between CarlJr and Granady. They played in a time-based format where the player with the best time across 7 rounds wins. 10,000 euros difference on the line, all coming down to the last round. Granady was 1700s behind Carl at the start of the round, but after an early mistake it was looking good for him. He led by 3800s into the last checkpoint, and on his way to win the tournament, just one jump remaining, this happened. Now this sparked a lot of discussion, of course. When this happened, everyone was confused and just trying to figure out what they just witnessed. It's a few days later and I would like to explain everything regarding this incident as far as we understand it now. First of all, what is even happening here? Basically, they jump up a ramp on the side of the Red Bull can, plastic bounce on the roof hit, and then try to fall into the hole as quickly as possible. For this there were two dominant strategies. Jump up as straight as possible and hold air brake to keep the car vertical on the bounce, so that the back of the car hits the finish trigger as early as possible. And the other strat players did was to turn around 180 degrees in the air and do a small backflip into the finish. In the discovery, most players went for the 180 strat at first because the world records were using it, but when they were testing the map they all also found out about the straight strat. The main differences are that the straight strat is a bit easier to do and also about 3 to 500s faster on average. Sounds great, right? Now why would anyone use the 180 strat then if it's clearly inferior? Well, there was a very small chance of the car bugging when the nose of the car hit the plastic, losing you half a second. The back of the car is shaped differently, so the bug doesn't happen if you do the 180. The success rate varied from player to player, but they all knew about it, and some, like CarlJr, decided that they didn't want to deal with the random chance of a bounce not working and just opted for the slightly slower strat. However, for Granady, in all of his time practicing for the event, the straight bounce only bugged once. Maybe he had a slightly different approach than the others, but from his point of view the bug was basically a 1 in 400 chance. He also tried the 180 strat a bit, but that one is of course slightly harder because there's a chance that you mess up your steering movement and miss the hole at the top. In the practice this mistake was a lot more likely than the bug for Granady, so he opted for the straight strat instead because it was the safer option for him. For Carl the bug was a lot more likely, so that's why he went for the 180. Both of them did the strat that felt the most safe to them, and the rest is history.
And now he just has to jump up and he wins Redbull Faster! Granady wins! Wait.
The chance for this bug to happen in the very last round, in the last 5 seconds of the track, and to decide the entire tournament like that is just insane. We truly witnessed a crazy moment in Trackmania history here. There have been a few ideas thrown around as to what causes the bug. A lot of people were thinking it was the angle of Granady's car, that he was steering as he hit the roof, or that it was because specifically his wheels made contact at that moment against the plastic. While those things could still be a helping factor, the leading theory for what caused the bug is that when creating the plastic roof hit, the mappers only left a 3 cm gap between the invisible plastic layer and the glass texture behind, which meant that under very specific circumstances the car could get bounced by both layers at the same time, giving a weaker flight. I verified that you do still get a plastic bounce when the bug occurs, because if you place a full platform layer there instead, the car doesn't bounce at all. But this is just a theory after all, and it's very hard to prove anything without understanding the underlying game mechanics. If this is indeed the case, then this is a thing that mappers could try to avoid in the future and leave a bit more safety room. But I also wouldn't place any blame on them here either. It's a very weird and hard to replicate bug, and I am unaware if they even knew about it. But in summary, as far as we know, Granady did not make a mistake in his attempt, his strat just failed him. At the end of the day though, Carl decided to avoid this bug with his line on purpose, and it worked out for him. Granady gambled on a for him 99% reliable strat, and the 1% occurred. Switching to the 180 strat would not have made sense for him in that situation, because he would have had a much higher chance of failing the end if he did. They both played a fantastic match though and deserved to win. Everyone at the event did in fact. And it's just sad that this unfortunate bug was the deciding factor at the very end. I hope this cleared up any confusion that you might have had about the event. It was still a lot of fun to watch and cheer for the players. I also uploaded my own cast of the event on YouTube as well if you're interested in rewatching the other matches. There's still some extra nuance that I didn't mention here, but this should be the gist of it. If you still have any remaining questions, be sure to ask them in the comments, and have a great rest of your day.